everybody. Wow, we're here. It's week 10. Thank you so much for watching our channel and our Harris After Dark goofball show previewing week 10 in the NFL. Alongside me, and by alongside I mean about 2,500 miles away, is Jim McCormick. Hi, Jim.
Yes, but we're kindred spirits. We both have wonderful football teams, and I mean, well, no, we're just good friends. We're just good friends.
I remember when that was true. It's not true anymore. So we're gonna preview the week 10 games, and we're gonna make picks against the spread. We're also going to say welcome back Dave Pyper, who is producing today after having not personally given birth but been present for the birth of his new child, and we are very happy to have Dave back. Of course, at some point in the program, we will ask everybody what their favorite point spread wager of the week is, and then we'll offer ours as well. Last week we made that offer. I believe, Jim, that I forgot for a while that I was going to mention this, but eventually I got around to it because that's how good I am. And last week the correct poster was Blue Doful. Shout out to Blue Doful, who picked the Chargers, as did we. It was an easy money cover on Monday night, and so good job there. Now we had a lot of people watching this thing, and not a lot of people commenting and giving their pick down in the comments. Come on. Just, you want to shout out on the show. It's fun. Get shouted out. Leave us a comment down there. We're sponsored by DraftKings, and we'll tell you more about them in just a little bit. But Jim, are you ready to dive into these games?
I am. I'm not gonna lie. That when I heard Blue Doful, I thought of kind of some custom calzone, like a blue cheese calzone. Just sounded like that. But or a rapper, Blue Doful. So
that would be quite a name. I mean, to be honest, I'm very old, so I don't know whether I would think that was a real rapper name or not. If you told me it was, I'd be like, that's cool, nice. I love him. Great stuff. All right, Thursday night game, not great stuff. And I guess it's doleful that they both give me the blues. It's the Panthers. It's the Bears. We're not going to get Justin Fields, I think we're told, but it seems like maybe we'll get Khalil Herbert back in some sort of role. It's still going to be Tyson Bagent, though, and I'm not sure how much you got to see of Tyson Bagent with the Saints. What I'll say is that if you liked the Josh Dobbs experience in Arizona, it's kind of what's going on, like really gutty, very athletic, lots of running, and in the end, sort of diminishing returns. What I actually wanted to ask you is I really do consider you to be probably my smartest friend when it comes to NFL defenses. Is the Panthers defense in any kind of state to take advantage of Tyson Bagent's diminishing returns?
No, not really. No. And so that's the thing, because they like to stay home. They don't blitz enough. They don't attack. I mean, I would just sell out if I had their results, right? And particularly like to get field position, to get the ball back and not sit there all the time and watch my 3-foot quarterback run around. But either way, so this game's bad. But to answer you specifically, I don't think they have much other than, they have a couple good edge rushers, but they've had injuries in the back seven, and also Jeremy Chin is not playing. Right. So they could have traded him at some point, and last year they had the trade on the block with Brian Burns. My point is, missed the boat. So yeah, I don't think they. But at the same time, after all the analysis, we'll find out where I go with this. So go ahead.
And I think Brian Burns is not going to play in this game, so that's one more problem with the Panthers in this one. So at home, Bears are giving 4. And, I don't think we're expecting miracles from Carolina's offense. Boy, I mean, if you could do it again, I think you'd take Stroud over Young 100 times out of 100, and you can't do it over again. So tell me, do the Bears have any sort of juice to be able to cover 4 points?
So this game is so bad that I did look up the phonetic pronunciation of charcuterie. I just wanted to get it right. I still got it wrong because I wanted to use it in a sentence that this game smells like I'll say it in a South Philly accent. Yeah, this game smells like a midsummer charcuterie made in a rusty trash can. It really does. It's like brie and apples, and I'm not even sure what else. It's just rotting. But really, my biggest issue with this game is that I had to read 2 separate articles about how the Bears were super impressed with Bryce Young, and now they weren't so impressed with Bryce Young. So, meaning, in the end, does it really matter? They own what? Don't they have kind of
both picks
lateral either way here? They have 2 and 3, so they can't really hurt themselves either way with the outcome. But my thing is this: I had this at -3. It's just because I just felt like I couldn't give more than that, and so I guess I'm just by the law of physics and logic and our ironclad rules that thus I'm taking the points. I don't know how or why. I haven't seen anything. Adam Thielen has a really great pharmacist, and everything else is good. So yeah.
I actually nailed this line exactly. I nailed it at 4. So guess what? I'm not doing. I'm not making a pick on this one. We should mention. How did you? I actually did not ask. I'm not asking to be confrontational. Did you do well we had a lot of different picks last week, and I did kind of well.
No, I didn't. 9-5. I'm getting updated by the Oracle. I'm 9-5. I mean, I just love how somehow we differ so much, and then end up. But for a little bit of actual analysis, I think this game is. What's the over under on this? Is like 12. This is
still under.
This is going to be quite the slop fest. Yes, yeah.
I think it went 8-4, and Jim went 9-5. I actually hit Mount 500 again. I'm exactly 500 for the year. You're above. You're better than me. Better man. Better family, better everything, and better picking NFL. Let's do the very stupid Patriots game. They're going to be in Germany. Oh, my God. Can you imagine? Speaking of smells, that Bill Belichick plane ride to Germany? Oh, God. The question that I wanted to ask you is, when you're approaching a game like this where one team sort of thought it didn't have to rebuild or could sort of rebuild on the fly, aka the Patriots, and one team that made peace with the idea that it was going to have to take the rookie quarterback and they were going to have to tear it down a little bit and let guys go, etc. They signed Jonathan Taylor, but a lot of other pieces are gone. Do you like the instinct? I think is to say, oh, the young scrappy team. That should be the team that has an advantage here. But that feels like a whole wheelbarrow full of crutch arguments. Do you lean that way, or do you kind of just want to take it on its face?
No, that does sound like a bunch of crutch arguments. I mean, their whole new philosophy is just grab the largest spider chart, meaning like they just took only athletes. It was all Spark scores and what's the new one? RAS, relative athletic score. Everything was just like a 9.9, 9.9. For the Colts, they just went athlete. And the Patriots just have an infinite collection of Juju Smith-Schusters. But, at the same time, I had this at a pick. I just did. I couldn't take this. And I hate, again, being on the side of this Belichick team. Again, Gardner Minshew doesn't even have, he doesn't watch tape. He just wraps duct tape around his hand as on a long flight. But more importantly, I just feel like the Patriots are just more well-seasoned travelers. So, yeah.
What could be more important than that thought? More importantly, nothing. That's it. Tape on the hand. Yeah, you know where I'm going. I think the Colts blow freaking doors, and the Patriots have a hard decision to make whether they let Belichick back in the country. I wouldn't. It's respect for all he did. Maybe a lot of it was to do with the quarterback, and maybe I'll just move on from there. I will say I'll give the 1.5 points. It's funny, you would have been on the underdog no matter what if you're going to say it's even, and that's like a gross position to be in because in the end you feel like they both should be underdogs. In a way.
Yeah, I mean, that's what Goodell feels like right now. He's just like, whatever, we missed some, okay?
I know, so, yeah, they really did. I mean, they got the Chiefs game, right? Chiefs-Dolphins, pretty good. All right, we'll get back to the main slate of the games. Let's thank DraftKings for sponsoring. A little different DraftKings message today. You know that you can play some of these games at the DraftKings Sportsbook if you live, as do Dave and Jim, in one of the magic states where that's allowed, and we would love for you to do that. We run a DFS contest every week. We thought maybe we'd just mix it up by telling the YouTube audience. Daily Fantasy is fun. It's sort of how DraftKings started before there was DraftKings Sportsbook, and we've had a contest with them for 9 straight years where they set up a room for us. You play only among Harris football people, and it's $5 to play. DraftKings makes no money off of it. They don't take a rake at all. You pick your winning team for that week only. It's the alternative to season long, right? You get to okay, for this week only, and you have a salary cap, and you mix and match dollar values of players, and you come up with what you think is the highest scoring team. You get compared to me, you compare to Jim and Dave. We'll all be playing as we do every week, and then there's actual cash. You pay $5, and you can win cash prizes. It's very fun. We would ask only that if you download the DraftKings app for the first time, please do sign up using the code HarrisTube. That helps us out. And there is a link to our Week 10 contest in today's show notes on this YouTube page right now. You can find it once you have an account. You just click that link. You will find the room. $5. Come play with us. And actually, that first $5, they'll actually. I think you get to play for free the first time around, so pretty good. So thanks, DraftKings, very much, and we'll get back to these games. I've got Browns and I've got Browns. Oh no, that's wrong. I've got Ravens, Browns and Ravens. They are, very similar incarnations of each other. One used to play in the other one's city or something. I don't know. There's some relation. They're in the same division. Deshaun Watson, buddy. I think people are looking at Deshaun Watson's box score from last week and seeing 240 something passing yards and being like, Deshaun in his time coming back has a pretty darn good job. And I don't think they watched it. And I do think Dave Pyper watched it. And I think he knows that lies because it was two very good throws to Amari Cooper, and they were not fakeable. I couldn't have made those throws. There's nothing else Deshaun Watson did on the football field that I couldn't have done, and I'm an old poop. So I am very concerned that people are underestimating maybe just how hurt Deshaun Watson is, or else his brain doesn't work. But I think this Ravens defense could feast.
Yeah, that's how I read this one. I also went back and watched this because obviously, I don't have a VCR, so I wasn't, taping a Cleveland game. But, that also is a question for Dave, like which city between Baltimore and Cleveland has more active VCRs right now, like VCR Plus? I'm going to guess it's Cleveland. I'm going to throw it out there. Either way, what I will say is that I went back to watch the game. I watched the condensed version to just get an idea because I help with something I do with ESPN. It's like I help double check some of our projections and help write up some of our projection blurbs each week, those little files. Sometimes that's why you'll get some little nuggets. But what I learned was that, like, I was like, what's this Amari Cooper thing? How did he have this huge game? It was just two huge plays, like you said, but it wasn't like he was diming the ball around. And the running wasn't by choice. It was like flushing. So it's not like designed good RPO stuff. It's not like old Deshaun where it was like he would run as a weapon. It was like running as like a panic kind of run. It was scrambling, was what I'm trying to say, as opposed to like some designed weapon. So yeah, in the end, I'm just taking this Baltimore team, which I think is one of the best teams in football right now, at least how they're playing, which kind of how that works, right? Like how you're playing. So yeah, I had this at -8. So I think they're going to feast defensively, and also they're such a styles make fights type of team, and obviously they like beat the crap out of this defense last time. I mean, what did Andrews went off, but more importantly, Lamar did what he wanted last game. Like 2 touchdowns on both sides, dual threat, 4 touchdowns total. Just like, I'm not even talking about fantasy stuff. I'm talking about he literally imposed his will on them. And I think they're in a better spot now than they were then. You got this Keaton Mitchell weirdo coming up. They have more darts to play. What is he like? I made a Michael Keaton joke in my blurb this week. I was like, so yeah.
I mean, he's Michael Keaton's son. Did everybody not realize that? Look it up. Everybody just we'll wait. Take a second. Just go to Wikipedia. Go ahead. As now you've learned, I'm a liar. I'm not going to play it. I said it at 6. It's a little bit of a trap because, the Ravens are now the king of the world, right? They destroy Seattle and everybody decides they're one of the best teams, and maybe they are, but they have massive lapses, and the Browns defense is still good. But I think you're so right that if you're not on the Ravens, I think it's hands off. I don't think I want to play the Browns side, and it's not because of Cleveland's defense. It really is. Man, I mean, people follow me on Instagram at Harris Football. I sent out a throw that I don't understand what even happened. It was just a little flat pass that I don't know. Again and again, it felt to me that it hurt Deshaun Watson physically to throw. He just was doing some weird thing with his shoulder, just like coming over the top a little more because it's like a little more comfortable. And yet those 2 throws were awesome. They were on a line. There was one that was on a line. There was one that was way up in the air, but perfect drop in the bucket. It's in his bag, I guess. But yeah, I have big concerns about Deshaun Watson right now. So I'm not going to play the game. I've now 2 out of 3 games I'm not going to play, but that's it for me. But I would, if I were picking a side, I would not be on the Ravens. I
have a name for that throwing style. It's called Phillip Rivers on paternity leave. That's the name of that. He just throws this way. So yes,
the elderly Phillip Rivers on throwing left-handed on maternity leave. Yeah.
Yes.
The Packers, they aren't. What's the word? Good. They go to Pittsburgh and they aren't. What's the word? Good. I don't know about the Steelers because they keep winning these games that I'm not sure they should win, and they keep not covering in them. The Packers go to Pittsburgh, and Jordan Love, he got it done eventually. Like, he was so bad for so long in that game last week, and yet sort of did eventually figure it out. What's your confidence level that Jordan Love is, quote unquote? You don't have to have a definitive answer. Nobody does. But Is he the guy? If you guess 3 years from now, is he the Green Bay Packers quarterback?
No.
Okay.
I mean, like the stuff that scares me. I know these are just, again, the sample size isn't too big with him, but
Yeah.
it is in the sense that like he's had protection. It's been a good pocket for the most of the season. Even after losing the left tackle and everything, like apparently it's got one of the best clean pocket rates for whatever you want to say. But he's not operating from there at all. He's got some of the worst numbers in the league from there, and that's just scary to me because that's like that's the one place that you have to do well in this league. It's like it's like a 3-1 count kind of thing or a 3-0 count, and like you have to be able to get on base here, and he doesn't. And also, it's just the volatility of their skill guys, right? I mean, like every week it's like Aaron, the Aaron Jones like shrines, but like really it comes down to like Watson can never stay healthy. I just don't. They have this mix of youth and injury. I don't know who they rely on, and yeah, I'm going with the Steelers here. I had this at -4.5, that weird Vegas-y zone thing. Also, this is the way to describe the stock for Jordan Love would be that VH1 hasn't mentioned him for a dating show yet, and like that's crazy because his name's Jordan Love. I mean, come on, like Travis Kelce got a dating show. It led to Love. It led to like that's actually I think how Taylor Swift found him. She was on a plane and she was like, "Who is this guy? He looks like a douche, but he's cool." That kind of yeah.
Yeah, the Steelers are so hard to rely on, right? They're so hard to rely on. And it all comes down to, I mean, do we think Kenny Pickett's the quarterback of the Steelers in 3 years? The answer, just as definitively, I think, is absolutely not. You know, Mike Tomlin's going to have no hair left on his head if Kenny Pickett's there any longer. So I don't trust the Steelers, but I think I trust them more just because the defense does have a backbone. The Packers defense did play well against the Rams last week. It was against a really bad quarterback, but they played well. They could have folded up the tent a little bit, and they didn't, but I still trust the Steelers defense more. I'm with you. I'm going to be on the Steelers -3 here. Very good, interesting game. Two teams coming off of a bye. They seemed to be heading in different directions before the bye. This is your San Francisco 49ers. I say your because obviously Jim has a lot of 49ers merchandise. That's the team he loves most in the world. And then they're at the Jaguars, also your team, mainly because you like to say the name. What the hell when it comes to the 49ers? What the hell? Because best team in football, unquestioned. Even when they lost at Cleveland, you go, rainy, drove down, had the kick, guy blew it, whatever. Then they go to Minnesota and they're home Cincinnati, and they get boat raced in both of them. If you look back on that, you could say 3-game sample size, but at least 2-game sample size. If you could diagnose the thing that you think was most at fault, what was it, and is it easy to fix?
I mean, for one, I think it's the corners. Like people are picking on these corners. Like that's how they're getting there. I mean, like they're an up the middle team. If you want to talk about like funneling, you know how like there's like funnel offenses, for example, where like you're gonna live in the middle because of the outside corners, for example. Like that was the case. That's how to beat the Eagles last year. Now it's just passed to everybody. But and still lose somehow because we're just gonna like constantly get 2 yards and like it takes forever. But my main point is that like there is a weak point and they didn't address it. They doubled down again. So they invested $80 million on Hargrave this offseason in the defensive line, and then they just went and got Chase Young with a 2nd-round pick, which to them is, I get that, keep chasing, like not even like no pun, just like they're continuing to compile. And really, what they wanted to do there was they love moving Bosa around, and I think that now gives them the freedom that you can't just cheat on the other side. You're gonna have to pick your poison. You're not gonna double Chase Young when Bosa's here. More importantly, I do think they have an issue. I just don't know if this team, outside receiver-wise, is the one to get them. Like, they're very slot receiver. They're middle of the field themselves. Now, this guy has the arm. Lawrence has the arm to do it. I just haven't seen them do it yet this year. Zay Jones, they're possibly, at this point, their best outside receiver. I know he was slot last year, too. He's hurt. I don't hear any confidence coming out about him. He walked off the field again today in practice. Look, I only know that because I have like 17 guys on bye this week. But also the overlap between these two cities, between wine savvy and liberal agendas, it's confusing. Okay? No, but seriously, I spent a weekend in Jacksonville and my blood alcohol content is still light beer. But like, I will just say, I like Jacksonville. I had a good time. But I will say that this is a lot of respect for Jacksonville. It really is, for the Wires. And you asked me to diagnose that part.
Yeah.
I still don't think they're going to be able to pick on it. So I kind of like it revealed. I had this at -4 San Francisco. I think they are going to have in a get right spot. I think they have to hide Purdy a little bit more, if that makes sense. Like
That's where I was going to go. I'm
Yeah.
sorry to interrupt. That's where I was going to go. Like, I'm not sure. Charvarius Ward, like, people know the name, right?
Yes.
I think you're saying you don't think that the game adds up to the name. Okay, like I could see your point. I think it's a good one. I wasn't really thinking about it. I would have still said Purdy, and I've been pretty quick to say I was wrong last year, and like he's pretty aggressive and he's not a check down dude, and I think we've gotten a sense that when things are off for that offense, when he's getting pressure in his face, when the receiver isn't open right away the way he's supposed to be, when we're going to, I don't think it's so much multiple, like different reads. He's very good at that. But just mostly it's about pressure. When he gets something wrong up front, that he kind of has been a train wreck for 3 weeks in a row. And we thought it was the rain against Cleveland. And as it turns out, it really wasn't. Maybe the Jags defense isn't the one to take advantage. Because if you think about it, Browns, very good defense. Vikings, all of a sudden, pretty good defense. And I have to say, you've been calling that for a long time now, that they've been turning it around. And then Bengals, little suspect safeties, but pretty good pass rush. Maybe the Jags aren't the team, but I'm on the other side here. I actually sort of think the Niners as a as a road favorite against one of the 10 best teams in the league is like maybe a little residual value from a thing that might not be true.
Yeah, I guess like the thing with me was like I guess that Cousins sample. Cousins was playing really well that game, and so
he was.
And he's picking them apart. But you're right. I guess what led me to believe, like the Purdy thing is all there. It's just that like I've seen or I would imagine that Purdy could have a bad game and that this defense could still hold you down. But that's not the case so far because we didn't even see that with that Cleveland game, for example. Like I know that was a muck fest, but still like it was gross, and it still ended up being a lot of missed opportunities on both sides. But long story short, I am just, I don't know.
Sticking with the Niners.
Yeah, secretly. I don't know why. I still think they're really just the better team here. So, yeah.
And they have McCaffrey, and that does mean a lot. I mean, if other things don't work, there's McCaffrey. Wait, you're telling me something in Cleveland was gross? Wait, what? It was mucky? Yeah. I just, Dave Pyper, can you please cut his microphone off right now? That's just unacceptable. All right. That's a very good game. Maybe Saints Vikings is a good game. Maybe. The Josh Dobbs experience has now completely jumped the shark. Like he was faded from view and was being benched before he was traded in Arizona, and then suddenly he's a superhero for coming back twice. And it was a great effort. The fourth down scramble, there probably aren't a lot of quarterbacks that could have done that in the league. There's probably 5 other guys. Like it was a great play, but probably I think the market, let's put it this way, seeing the Saints, they're favored 2.5 in Minnesota, the market's not biting. Not believing that Josh Dobbs is any sort of answer. In that regard, I actually kind of believe them. It's Derek Carr as a it's Derek Carr as a road favorite that's stuck in my throat. I don't know if I can do that.
Yeah, but Taysom Hill gets to sit in the front of the bus now. So
that's true.
And yeah, and I mean Taysom Hill, he probably is in the prayer circle. I was going to make a joke, but they're probably all in the same prayer circle. No, I had a weird cough. All right, but seriously, I had this -3 Saints, and again, wow. I've been on this Saints defense the whole year. I think they just mucked this up. I don't think that Dobbs going to get free and run. One of your very funny listeners wrote me a note on Twitter this week about how like he took the Dobbs story even further, and he was like, and then Kevin O'Connell gave him a ball and said, "This is a football, okay?" he was like, "No, this is what you do with it, okay? I know it's a different shape than you're used to. You put your hands here. That's what the laces are for." But it's true. It's like that's how far it's gone. It's just like it's like it's literally like, yeah, and then we took his crutches off. Okay, but anyway, in any case, it is overdone. I also just think this Saints offense, they are bad, but they know who they are in badness. They funnel everything to Kamara and everything to Olave. Last week, he's like average up the target was like 3 yards, which is exactly what I would want to do with Derek Carr. Like this whole thing where he was bombing it all the time. Like I'm sorry, but I hate air yards sometimes because it's like, yeah, he led the league in air yards. That went to the sideline judge. Like he doesn't throw in the field. I think it's more appropriate just to pepper against this team. They have bad linebackers. Harrison Smith is like he should have the Harrison Smith show, like the Harrison football podcast.
Football
okay,
podcast.
Like he's done. Okay, he's cookied. No, but seriously, I just had him at 3. Obviously, I don't think this is that strong either way, but maybe not knowing the playbook last week was cuter than we want to believe, because it's like maybe knowing Kevin O'Connell's playbook's a bad thing. Maybe that's true too.
I'm really surprised by this line. I'm kind of surprised that you're willing to back the Saints on the road. I think these teams are kind of the same. Like, I think Derek Carr's probably better than Josh Dobbs, but like Derek Carr's not having a good year, and he'll just as likely make a stupid mistake as Josh Dobbs will. They're both very likely to make stupid mistakes. There's no question. This could be a very stupid mistake in offensive football. But you've sort of sold me on the Vikings, knowing that what we need to do is blitz, because we don't have a lot of, but it like works, and I just look at the 49er game and I go, yeah, it works. Like, that was a real offense. Like, that's way better than New Orleans. Anyway, this is just my way of saying. I
forgot about that. Man.
You didn't forget. We talked about it earlier. I guess I just misread this one compared to everybody else, but this means I'm going to be on the Vikings as a home dog. I'll probably look back. We saw how my backing Josh Dobbs for 6 or 7 weeks worked out not very well, but I guess I'm on it again. The Texans. I don't know if you know this, but they're the most aggressive pass offense in the league. Please, somebody cut my mic. Please kill me. They're not, but they were losing by 10, and they had to be. I was watching some other unsanctioned NFL content earlier, and people are saying, you don't understand. CJ Stroud's already probably about a top 5 quarterback in the league, and if they were just a little more aggressive, they'd be a Super Bowl contender. And I'm like, oh, I can't. I'm glad nobody gets out of control on this stuff. Listen, that much more impressive than 470 whatever passing yards is the last drive. That's Brady stuff. Tampa went down and won the game, right? And then CJ Stroud went, well, maybe I'll just win the game. So I don't want to take anything away, but like with Dobbs, it gets out of control, man. And the fact is, we said it last week, they would prefer to run if they could. You
know what CJ stands for, actually? I'm going to let Dave know this, too. It's Cooler Jesus. So he's just Cooler Jesus Beathard. I said Beathard. That said CJ Beathard. That was because I watched a George Kittle documentary last night. CJ Beathard somehow got him drafted. Okay, I apologize. But I nailed this at 7. I am not going to hit the eject button. I am going to go Bengals based on that they look like the last two second half teams that they've been. Joe looks cool again. And they do have pressure. Like they do create pressure. And I do like what the former PFF guy, the Slowek, the offensive coordinator, I do like what he's doing, obviously, with this offense. But it really comes down to, I think the Bengals look like the Bengals again. And again, they do have some weaknesses. Also, like, maybe not every week, like 5'7" Texans receivers are going to have 150 yards. Just maybe.
Right. You didn't. I want you to talk about Stroud other than his fake nickname.
Yes,
he's really good.
Yes.
But this isn't who they are right now.
No, it's not. And they play within their vest, and they had to open it up, like you said, because they were down. Game script demanded it. What they want to do is lean on you and pepper Dalton Schultz. They don't want to do this particularly. And yes, he has had amazing games and these huge explosions, but that was a function of also they've whiffed on cornerback the last 3 years, and so that's why they were giving up so many points to the Bucs. I don't know. It's kind of all in the thing. Now, my one concern is this Jamar Chase injury, but I choose not to believe it. So.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that is a thing. I'm on the same side. I'm on the Bengals side. Not disrespecting Stroud's long-term prospects, but to say, oh, I saw these couple of plays in a highlight package, and I saw that they came back in a high-scoring game, so that means he's a made man in the league now. I don't want to. I heard a quote. I don't want to say he's Mahomes, but. I'm like, oh man, that better be a giant butt. That better be like a Captain Kangaroo sized butt right there, because that's not a conversation I'm ready to have yet, that CJ Stroud is on the level of Patrick Mahomes. Not quite yet. The Tennessee Titans, fresh off Will Levis, I thought playing really well again on Thursday night against the Steelers, but not coming through in the clutch the way Stroud did, for example. And, in the end, not having really, once they got to the red zone on their last drive, didn't really have an answer for how they were going to beat Steelers coverage. They're going to Tampa, the team that gave up a lot of points via the air to Houston. And maybe it's 2 games. Maybe you could give me a little Will Levis assessment so far.
Yeah, I mean, he puts mayo in his coffee. He has a tattoo on the inner part of his arm, which is strange.
This is exact analysis you gave last week.
Yeah, no, but here's the thing. He does have a live arm. Like, I know that was the whole point. He can throw from his knees. No, but seriously, he has a live arm. He's willing to throw it, and they have one receiver who's willing to catch it, which is nice. But they do have a style. Like, they want to play. I think they want to get back to that, like, Vrabel, like, punch you, throw, punch you, throw. It's a cadence that you can maybe pick up. Also, TB10 or 10TB sounds like either a vaccine or a disease. But I am taking the points. I actually had this as a pick. Again, not very, but when these teams are so bad and they're just meeting, I don't know who to pick. So I'm just like, yeah, pick him. But, yeah, I think Levis is pretty good. I was impressed. And I think people are going to forget that Thursday game because, one, it's a Thursday game against, that wasn't that exciting, right? There's not that many narratives to come from that. But his game before was real, too. I know that, like, not really. I mean, Hopkins just grabbed some great passes, but he can put the ball there. And I'm not sure that there's that many quarterbacks who have that live arm right now in this league. We have a lot of bad quarterbacks out here. He's probably not one of them. So, yeah.
I agree. I agree. I'm excited. I like the guys, repeat of what I said last week, but I like the guys who take a chance, who don't check everything down because they've been programmed in college to always take the easy money. Somebody did something right, I think, with Levis's development anyway. Now, we said it last week, like, is he Bortles or is he, somebody else? Like, Bortles came into the league with a big arm and willing to go downfield and just made mistake after mistake. And in the end, we realized that was a really great Jacksonville team around him, and they probably didn't go to the Super Bowl because they had, like, Bortles at quarterback. So that's the concern with Levis. I don't want to play this game at all, but I already did my 2 pushes. And I guess that this line would be Buccaneers -2 because I think these guys are mirror image quality wise of each other. Not necessarily, Baker Mayfield's a different kind of cat relative to Will Levis. And he's the kind of cat that's already been, like, hit by a car 6 times and has, like, an aluminum hip. But I guess I'm just going to say my guess that it was going to be 2. I was praying it was going to be 2. It turned out to be Tampa Bay -1. So
do you think State Farm covered that hip surgery, or?
That's a good question. Let's go live to Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
Oh no, we didn't have that queued up. All right, fun game, excellent fun game. It's coming here to Los Angeles, but I don't think it's going to be much of a home game for the Chargers. It is the Lions coming here to the City of Angels, and they're facing the Chargers. And when last we saw the Lions, they didn't have David Montgomery, and Jahmyr Gibbs went absolutely bananas in a pretty easy game against Carolina. And meanwhile, last time we saw the Chargers, they were dismantling Zach Wilson, which I think you, me, and Dave could do with a 6-pack of beer. Tell me how the Chargers don't charger this, because I think, generally speaking, the Chargers, when they play good teams, tend to charger it.
They do really tend to charger it. And, yeah, they've become, like, I don't know. What's your take on, like, I'll answer this, and then I'm going to ask you about Austin Eckler, because, like, I'm still trying to figure out, like, is he right, because I haven't exactly seen that, but maybe I'm overthinking that. Yeah, it just feels like they're kind of a one-trick kind of team right now in terms of how they're moving the ball. It's like Keenan Allen and a prayer. And yeah, their pass rush is great, but so is this Detroit offense knows who they are. And for all this, Jared Goff joking. Also, Jared Goff returning to Los Angeles, where he still is allowed to stay at 3 different hotels for free. He has to pay. I'm kidding. But yeah.
But they do let him stay there.
They let him stay there. Like, he's not kicked out. And so right. I had this at -3, so I have no super strong feelings. But actually, it's one of those things where I know it was a half point. I just felt that right away. I was like, all right, -3, this is a kick game, and I'll probably be on the other side of this. I'll be on it anyway, but not knowing the number, I was thinking, I'm going to go on the other side of this. I think they can cover a kick or more on the road here. And on the road, like you said, is it really a thing? Because like yeah. 1/3 of mobile Detroit will be there, and like at least 1/3 of Detroit can afford a plane ticket. So yeah.
So about Eckler, you asked the Eckler question. Maybe the real question is, could he ever run? He's never really run between the tackles. He's had some numbers. I think he's a really good player. I think his strength is always underestimated because of his size. He's uncommonly strong. A guy, like I would love Jalen Warren to be Austin Eckler, but he better get in the gym because Austin Eckler is sicko strong, like just crazy for a guy his size. McCaffrey too. Like they're the exceptions that prove that the tiny bones rule, that usually guys that size can't hold up. And they both mostly can, at least as well as everybody else. All running backs get hurt, but I don't know. I feel like I haven't seen him not cutting when he gets the ball in space on screens. He just is not getting a lot of space to run and isn't a pile mover, except for on the 1 yard line. So I maybe feel like it's kind of the same on him. I don't trust the Chargers at all. I against good teams, there's no way. It's funny. I also set this line at 3, and the line is actually 2.5 as of our recording this, and so that would make you think that, wow, I don't have a strong feeling. And the more I think about it, I'm like, I wish it was 8.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
I trust the Lions in this spot. It feels crazy to say. And it's not like the Lions have made a lot of hay against really good teams. They did beat the Chiefs in week 1, but since then, didn't exactly show up in Baltimore. I'll feel really comfortable, even though it's only a half-point difference. I'm with you on the Lions. We can spend as much time as you want on Falcons Cardinals, but we can also not talk about it if you want. I guess the return of Kyler Murray, it's a big deal, but it's who knows how scaled down the offense is and what the state of his mobility is. Most of what he does that's good is about him extending plays, and if he can't, it could be a bloodbath. James Conner could be back. Like, it's a pretty different Cardinals team than we've seen, but how fully fledged will they be, or will they want to be? Let me ask you this question. This is actually what occurs to me. They're playing the Falcons. We'll make a pick. That's great. As a team building exercise, from what you've seen in Kyler Murray's NFL career so far, is there a chance that you would want to use the second half of the season as an audition and potentially explore offloading him, or would you at this point feel pretty committed to him?
I feel pretty well. I want to see if I want to commit to him, rather. So, like, I need to see that, I guess. So I need to see him in this. Yeah.
I asked it poorly. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
You would consider, if the second half of the season doesn't go that well,
yes,
you would consider figuring out a way to move that giant contract and move on.
Yeah, I probably would. You can find a buyer. This league's so weird.
I agree.
Just get on the phone with Tampa, or find somebody who feels they have a roster that they can make this work, and you'll end up eating a lot of the weird money, and it'll get gross, and then you'll restart, and Josh Dobbs will be back. It's gonna get weird. But the real point is that calamari. Yeah, calamari. Yeah, that's how you say it in Philadelphia. Yeah, calamari. He's got a lot of lemon, right? That's good with calamari. But really, Arthur Smith wishes he had a guy like Kyler Murray, because Tyler Heineke was so bad last week. Like, I thought he was bad, and then I went and saw it. Like, he is bad. He made me think about putting Desmond Ridder back in there. I'm taking these points. I know it's terrible, but again, they're gonna blitz their face off. Jonathan Gannon, do you have fire in your belly? I don't know. I understand all the narratives, and I do understand the fact they could just own this game on the ground. I could be misreading this. Like, the way the Falcons win this is just they punch them in the face over and over. It's the Homer Simpson, just getting pummeled. But Homer Simpson won that fight, okay? So I'm going with the Cardinals. I'm taking the points. I had this again at a pick. I had 3 picks this week. I have no idea what I'm doing, but really, there's just so many bad teams fighting. It's like Rock'em Sock'em Robots between my 2 cousins. Just, I want them both to lose, and I also, so yeah, that's it basically.
That's what it feels like for me. That's what it feels like for me when the Eagles play the 49ers. Can these guys both lose? That would be great. That's not true. I think I like them both fine. I'm on the Atlanta side, but that's sort of immaterial, because I feel like it is to place a bet on this game is to feel like you're guessing workload, you're guessing effectiveness, you're guessing playbook. Like, what's it going to be? Is it
right? Yeah.
Well, and also, just, does Kyler Murray run at all? Do they let him? Do they just say no for this one? Like, if they don't let him run, I don't think Arizona's going to be very competitive in the game. But like, if they let him be Kyler Murray, then I'm probably wrong and feel bad about it. I want to answer my own question. I think I like Kyler Murray enough to not feel like I want to move on from him. I would want to use this not to evaluate getting rid of him, but to evaluate everything around him, and then give him next year with the knee fully, 2 years away. Because mobility is such a big. Seems like it would be harsh to judge his second half of the season if it doesn't go well based on him not being able to run like he normally does. And I don't even mean run for yards. I just mean extend plays because he's another dwarf playing football, right? He needs to move to find open receivers. So I guess I find myself a little more on the positive. I'm on a lonely island here when it comes to this, but I kind of am on more positive side. Justin Fields too. I don't hate either one of those guys.
I can see it. I mean, I should have been a little bit more like, I actually like Kyler Murray like I did before. Like, he is a spaz playmaker, but he had more like, there was more like to weaponize that. It's just that it's the way that I would call their build would be like the inverse of, like the cheap quarterback thing. They have the cheap roster thing, meaning where the rest of their guys, the next several years, are going to be waves of picks, no matter what. So what I'm trying to say is they can afford to pay him his money in the sense that they really don't have any other like grand commitments. So
I mean, it getting rid of him. Who cares about the money? We all know that's fake
exactly.
anyway. The cap's not real. It's much more. Do you want him on your team? The question is, do you want him on your team? And I think I still do, but I don't know. I guess I could be talked about. I'm not sure. Boy, oh boy. I'm being told we do have to talk about this game. The Giants are going to play Tom. Am I right that Tommy DeVito was Joe Pesci's character's name in Goodfellas?
Actually, this is the second celebrity son that we have. This is Danny DeVito's love child. I'm ready to be heard.
I think I'm right about this. I think I'm right.
Is this real?
I think Tommy DeVito, because he's definitely Tommy.
Yeah.
Am I getting signal from Michigan?
Yeah.
No. Goodfellas.
Goodfellas.
But anyway. Yeah. You would think as a professional I would have looked it up beforehand.
But he's a real.
But that makes
that character. Yeah.
Tommy DeVito.
Yeah.
It has now been confirmed across the country that Tommy DeVito is the name of Joe Pesci's psychotic son of a gun character in Goodfellas that gets a bullet in the back of the head. Spoiler alert. And that's what this game is, man. This is not going to go well.
Yeah, this is rough, and I'm taking the points because I had it -14. I have to follow the rules. It's the laws of physics and logic, and if this doesn't cover, I have to move to Dallas or something, which sounds terrible. But like, listen, I don't know, man. I don't know what to say. They're gonna blitz. They might just get killed by 1,000,000 points. So I don't know what to say.
I think they're gonna get killed by 1,000,000 points. I'm gonna lay them. There is an old gambler rule that you never lay 2 touchdowns no matter what. It could be our sisters the poor against the Joe Montana 49ers. You never lay 14, but I'm doing.
But you know who made that rule? Tommy DeVito. So he's dead.
And he's in some in some rumpus room.
Yeah.
Some empty rumpus room. The Commanders, fresh off validating my feeling about the Patriots last week, are visiting Seattle, and Geno Smith. I asked Jeff Bell a Geno Smith question on the podcast today, and Jeff's a very, very nice guy, as are you. I'm not as nice. And he did a nice job trying to say, we're seeing some bad Geno. It's a little reminiscent of the Geno that we remember from the Jets. It's a little, and I'm like, you could have just pretend last year never happened and it would be the same guy. I am wildly concerned about Geno Smith and the Seahawks offense. How about you?
Yeah, this is like the one movie that somebody thought Adam Sandler could act. You know what I mean? It's just like, no, guys, no, it's not gonna happen.
But Drunk Love?
Yeah, something where it's just like, guys.
That's the one.
Yeah, it was like, guys, no, come on. It was a good script. Calm down. But seriously, like, also, like, we talked about the Detroit and Baltimore thing. We just forget about that these events happen. Like, the Seahawks got bludgeoned last week. Like, yet they're sizable favorites. I had this at -5.5 in the Vegas zone, so I'm gonna take the points here. It's not enough. Wow. I think Brian Robinson's gonna have 200 horizontal yards and at least 100 vertical. So, yeah, I think you can run on this team. It's pretty clear they have those guessing linebackers. Their best run defender is like a 5'9" corner, rookie corner. Like Devon Witherspoon is great, but
tell me your Geno impressions, though. I mean, don't do an impression of Geno, but like.
I had a tweet last week. The fans were just like, "How did he win Comeback Player of the Year from coming back from being himself? Like that's what he came back from. It was weird. So."
Yeah,
it'd be like getting the Oscar after getting the Razzie or something. It doesn't make sense. But
I take your meaning because like you were never good beforehand. So like, what are you coming back from?
That's my point. So it's just like
solid point.
Brandon Graham was 33 and tore his Achilles. But I will say this: he's bad. And like people are wondering about.
He's been so bad.
People are wondering about JSN. Yeah. I mean, like I've had to listen to people talk about Jake Bobo. It's just like, guys, let's talk about Geno Smith. He's the problem. Okay, it's not the 4-9 corner. Like the 4-9.
So many weird throws, so many weird decisions. Just all the stuff that we used to say when the Jets were trying to make him a thing, that he just doesn't see it. And the reason he didn't make the league is nothing to do with a lack of physical ability. It was just not seeing it, and still makes good throws. But there are times where you go, where you go with throwing where? Like,
I get Carson Wentz vibes, to be honest. I get what were you seeing vibes? Like, and they had that one crazy outlier year. Now, I think Wentz was a better player than, obviously, better trajectory, but still the same kind of thing where there's this outlier performance, and then the rest of the years look crazy, and you're like, but what about that one time? It's like, yeah, but that time seemed like the outlier.
And I'm going to lay the points. -6, I'm going to give them. I'm scared about doing it. It does seem like a little bit of a lot, but the Commanders are terrible, and they just were made to look not terrible by the even worse Patriots, and I think it'll show up this week. I think, against the Patriots offensive line, you can still get a pass rush without any defensive ends, but now it's going to show up. So, but yeah, I don't feel good about it at all. You could be very much right, and I'm very skeptical of Geno, no question about it. All right, Sunday night. Oh my God, these guys are on national TV again. It's the Jets. I can't believe I keep having to watch Zach. I mean, I have to watch it all, but I can't believe everybody has to keep watching Zach Wilson. It's unreal. I guess this was supposed to be Aaron Rodgers. Can we flex in like the Ohio State game? What are we doing? I don't want to watch this game. Jets are visiting Vegas. Antonio Pierce made everybody love football again, I guess. I don't know, man. There's no world I can't make Zach Wilson a road favorite. What are we doing?
Yeah, it's like the second game in any given Sunday doesn't go as well as the first one. Okay, meaning that's what this is like. Feels like to me in terms of the Raiders. You get that
okay
feel.
I'm on the other side. I'm on the other side here.
No. Here's the crazy part. This is one of my grand pivots. But the reason I'm doing this, the reason I'm going to take the points is because Max Crosby is like a top 3 player in the world, like non-quarterback edition, right? Like he's just a monster. Did he have like 3 sacks last week? They had 8 sacks as a team. I just think they're going to be in Zach Wilson's life way too often. And Zach Wilson is going to be like a lounge singer in Vegas in a couple years anyway, so this will be cool. Mm-hmm. He is pretty good looking. But in like a weird, like Zac Efron, like it's weird.
Cupid doll way.
It's weird. It's like that little barky dog. Okay, but I will say this: he's bad, and he's so bad that I'm going to take the points. And I actually think like O'Connell, like they limited what he had to do last week. They didn't do the McDaniels thing, which was just like let's keep running the same script. And I get it, but they did run like 58% of their plays were designed runs. That's like 1999 stuff. And I think Pierce is going to keep doing that, and I think it matches up well. This is going to be like a 12-9 gross fest. And so I'd rather just take the points at home. So, yeah.
I mean, for sure, I wouldn't want to throw against New York. Not against that pass rush, not against that secondary. No thanks. I'd much rather run. And they're not easy to run on. I mean, the Chargers probably without a defensive touchdown or almost touchdown and a special teams touchdown, that's 13 offensive points for the Chargers last week. That's a bad defense to have to face. And that's the only reason the Jets are favored here. Obviously, people saw the defense and saw them lose, but saw the defense be really good. And it's Aiden O'Connell, and they're going to eat him up. But there's no world where Cupid doll should be a road favorite. Sorry, we're on the Raiders here, no question about it. All right, Monday night, the Bills are also on national TV. Stop me if you've heard this before. I like watching the Bills more, but they're a little bit of a slog themselves. My real question to you is: Leonard Fournette finally going to play?
He is, and I love that he particularly only sends pictures of his like leg inflection or whatever. Like he's obsessed with the own size of his legs, and it's just like, dude, like stop, focus on more productive things. And also like, so like if you're posting them, I doubt the sincerity. Like Dave, can we get an unfiltered Leonard Fournette like quad shot at some point, please? I just want to see if we can get that on the screen. Also, this Bills team is so volatile, like they're so hard to read. So. I had this at -7, just to say.
Me too.
So, yeah.
Denver, +7.5. Like, there's no reason to trust Denver other than to say the statistical noise of the Dolphins game that made the Denver defense be the worst defense in the league. We have to get over that now, right? We have to like look at a 5-week window and say, the Chiefs aren't amazing, but they did completely shut down Patrick Mahomes. And there's we kept saying that we were surprised because we actually thought there was legit talent on that Bronco defense throughout September. We kept saying, wow, really? Like we can't get Patrick Surtain to like play well at all? That seems weird. He used to be really good. And now I feel like at least you're seeing, I think Denver has a chance to put up a respectable defensive effort in this game.
Yeah, I know last week my math was really poor with the front seven, back seven thing. No, really, guys, I'm talking about the same three linebackers, okay? But no, they do. They have Justin Simmons. I know he's older, but he's still like a thumper. And yeah, and Surtain, like, that doesn't just go away. Like, and there was a lot of change over with regards to personnel and also like philosophy. Like, he was being asked to live on this island, and now he's being asked to like help the safeties figure stuff out. That's not the same job. Either way, yeah, this team. Like, Surtain does help with the one scariest thing that the Bills do. I'm not saying he's going to erase Diggs. It's just that at least there's some. And then, like, so the fear always I would be, if I was a Bills fan, my fear would always be, if you take care of Diggs, what do I do? You know, the stuff that Kincaid's doing is what he did in college, 6 and 8 yard outs. Like, he's not some. He has one pass blocking snap this year. Like, he is a gadget. And he is what people thought. He is a pseudo receiver, but that's not the coolest thing in the world. Like, maybe get a real receiver. So just throwing it out there. Like, and Gabe Davis, like, for all of my fantasy team things, it's either going to be 1 catch for 9 yards or 9 catch for 100 yards. It's like there's no. And it's also that he's the Bills. Gabe Davis's box scores are the Bills.
That is the Gabe Davis experience. It is kind of the Buffalo Bills experience. My Josh Allen for MVP futures from the summer are not feeling great. He's played really well. Like, he's doing the Cam Newton thing. Yes. But that's not always a good thing, right? He has to do everything, and if he doesn't do absolutely everything, they get killed by Denver in the Super Bowl. You know, like, they could be really good, and Cam Newton was a great player, but like, he had to do too much on those teams, and Josh Allen certainly has to do too much here. All right. We're at the point of the show where we look back at these games that we've talked about. We've thought about just from a football perspective, and then also made picks on. Can you give me one game you feel best about your point spread pick?
Yes, I feel best
Eagles.
about Baltimore. Baltimore, yeah. I do want to take the Eagles just for healing. Just everybody like get some echinacea and rest. But yeah, I don't know if echinacea helps with like swollen knees, whatever that takes. A Toradol shot. But Baltimore, please, yes. Okay. I just think they're that dominant. I understand, but it's like this is 6 because of the respect for the Browns defense.
Absolutely.
But I think this team has already unlocked that once, and it wasn't that long ago. It was 1 month ago that they like put up 38 on them. So yeah. Right.
I mean,
it was on the road.
It was, but it also had PJ Walker, right? That was the.
It did.
Yeah. Oh no, it wasn't PJ Walker. It was Dorian Thompson, right?
It was they shift hyphens every couple of weeks with those guys.
Right.
So yeah.
Right. So it wasn't even PJ Walker, but still it was a blowout. No question about it. I'm taking the Vikings. I just feel like I got 4 points wrong. Like, I just felt like I thought the Vikings were going to be a 2-point favorite, and we turned out the Saints are a 2.5-point favorite. And I'm wrong. I get it. Everyone seems to agree that the Saints should be favored in this game, but I'm somehow going to just trust my initial instinct and read on the game. So I'm going to be Vikings plus 2.5.
What would it be if Cousins was active? Like, if just Cousins ever, what would this line be? Like -3.5 Vikings? Like,
yeah,
right?
It seems like they'd clearly be favored, right? And should Cousins be worth that much? Yeah.
No,
I don't know. But anyway, we'll see if I'm a fool. But we want to know what your favorite bet of the week is among the point spreads as we have presented them. I know a lot of people don't do this, but you should, because it's fun and you get a shout out on the show. I mean, that's fun. Just down in the comments, tell us your best bet. All over it. Just say it right there, and you're done. Also, in the down below the video, we have a link to our Week 10 DFS contest, and I would love it if you've never played DFS before. Download that DraftKings app, enter the code HarrisTube, all one word. That helps us out. You'll be doing us a favor. And then you get a free DFS entry, and you can use that on our Week 10 contest. There is a link below us in the show notes. And there's 900 spots. We almost always fill them up to almost to the top. And I would love it if we filled it all the way to the top. But DraftKings doesn't take a rake. The money goes back to the winners. You get to try to pick the best team for this week only, and it's really fun. And please do use that code HarrisTube. We've done it. We are. Do they say postnatal? I think we are on this show now. Postnatal. There are no babies that we know of that are on the way. So the team will be with you, we think, for the rest of the year. And we appreciate you watching. Thank you to Dave Pyper and his family for allowing to be here. And thank you to Jim McCormick for being amazing. And I guess thank you to me. I don't know. I probably shouldn't say that. Thank you to all of you for watching. That's what we're trying to say. We'll see you next time. Thanks. Thanks so much for watching. Please, please, please smash that like button, write a comment, tell us who else you'd like to see us review film on, and of course, best of all, please subscribe to our channel and then click that little bell above the subscribe button and you'll be notified whenever we post a new video.